Hello and welcome back to a festive coding session with Mr. Jacob. We are in the third day of the Advent of Languages, where we implement the same thing, the same program in one of 24 languages on each of the days of December until Christmas. So the today's language will be C. And what we will be implementing is this one. We will be implementing an ASCII-based representation of a Christmas tree, which is output to the console, as we have done before in, for example, Rust and JavaScript. And today we will do it in C, in simple, plain C. So what I have done here is I have already created a simple make file, which will simply use GCC with a couple of compiler flags to compile our hello xmas.c, which we will now create. As you can see, it is not there yet. So we will do hello xmas.c. So let's get going. First of all, I intend to use printf in order to print out the strings that we have there, because then I can use some sort of string formatting magic that is within printf. So I need include stdio. So what I need from stdio is actually printf. So first of all, we need a void main function, which is the entry point into our application here. And I guess from this one, we can, as most of the time, do a draw tree with a number of groups, I guess. Let's do, or let's get the README. Let's get the tree here quickly. And let's get it, put it somewhere in here, just to have a neat little representation of our tree, so that we need what we know what we actually want to draw here. And we want to draw those groups here as well. So this group and this group and this group, which is actually always defined by the kind of same way. So we figured that out before. We want to draw those tree groups, so we need a function, of course, which is called draw tree. So if we want to use it here, it needs to be defined above in C. We could either do some sort of forward declaration, like declare the function body, the function signature, and then use it, or we could just define those things in the right order. For now, I guess we will go with defining them in the right order. So let's quickly do that. Void draw tree. It takes the number of groups, and I guess we will take them as a size t here. So yeah, I guess that's reasonable. And now, what do we actually need to do here? First of all, we need to draw the groups. So we will do draw. Why am I actually calling this draw tree like this camel case? The usual mostly used C style is, as far as I know, the same with Rust, which is this snake case stuff. So let's do draw group. And as before, we do this as we need an int, which is an I. We could actually put this as an int as well. Size t is usually an int, I guess. I'm not 100% sure. Haven't written C for quite some time. So let's define this I here, and then let's do for I equals 0, I is less than groups, I plus plus. We will want to do, or to call draw group with the I and the amount of groups that we actually have there. So let's for now do that. And then let's go ahead and tell the system that we want a function called draw group. Come on, group. There we go. And it takes the n, which is an int actually, and it takes another int, which is the length. And now we should actually be able to do some printf stuff here. So what we actually want to print here is we want, first of all, have a new line at the end. And in comparison to some other languages, there is no function, as far as I know, that directly prints a new line at the end, but we are simply telling the system what we want to output on stdout, and it will write it there byte by byte. So we definitely need to have the new line there if we want one. So that is actually the end of that. And what we now want to print here is we want to print the number of spaces until this starts. And the number of spaces until this starts, we already figured that out, is actually the number of groups that we have completely minus the group index that we are currently in. And for the first line, and for the second line, the same thing and one less, so -1. So how do we actually repeat a character like a space, for example, in C? And there is actually a neat little trick how we can do that, because what we can do is we can pad a certain character using printf by specifying that we want to print a character and then specifying the width of the string that we want to print. So we can tell it that we want to print a character here. So that would usually just print a character. So if I now do here the character here, the slash, it will simply print the slash and a new line. However, I can do something like 10 here, 10C, and this would actually make the whole string 10 wide. So it would add 9 spaces plus the character. However, what I can do is I can do a star here as well before the C. And now it takes the width as an argument. So what I can do here now, and as I've said, we need the length, so the maximum number of groups, len, minus the n, and now we need to take into account that it is the length of the spacings plus the character. So it's one thing. So we need 1 actually in order to make sure that this character is accounted for as well. Otherwise, we would have one space we would be 1 space short. So once we have done that, we can actually do the same trick again directly after that to print these inner spaces here and then the backslash. So what we can do now is we simply put the backslash here in the end, and in the middle of that, we put the width of this backslash string. So actually the amount of spaces then +1, and the amount of spaces is the group name, so to speak, and we need to do +1 because we need this backslash character. So now we have our first line and we need the second line. And the second line actually has, as I've already said, the more or less same spacing in the beginning, but 1 less. So we can remove this +1. And in the middle part, we need to multiply, to add 1 to this n here and multiply it by 2. By the way, I have forgotten that. We need to multiply this n by 2, and let's add a couple of... No, we don't need this here, but we need it down here. So we always need the double. So this is group 0, and this would be the n plus 1, so 1, and we have 2 spaces, so we actually need n times 2. So actually, if we have this already, it should maybe compile. So let's see if we do a make and hello Xmas. Does it already work? No, it does not, because it seems I've forgotten an H here. So let's see again. And now, oh yes, main must return an int. So let's do that, because int must return the exit code. Yeah. Okay, so what's the next problem there? Warning, a function declaration with all the prototype is deprecated in all and so on and so on. What's the problem here? Groups declared here. We have a couple of warnings there. Okay, I've not written C in a lot of time, it seems, because we have a couple of problems there. So what's the problem? The most recent problem here. So use of undeclared identifier groups in draw tree. Okay, didn't we call it groups? No, we didn't even... There is grouped, and we didn't even define. Oh, we have groups there, and we never defined groups here. So can we do something like const int groups equals 5 maybe, I don't know. Let's do a real big tree. Let's see, it's fast. Okay, so it kind of worked, but we have a couple of warnings and we did something wrong there. Oh, yes, I see. I gave it strings instead of characters. As I said, not done. Not done C in quite some time. Okay, now we actually have our program there, and it is complaining about that we should maybe. Can we do something like that? Would that work out? Yeah, okay. Because we don't actually need the arguments there of the application. Okay, so now we have printed our base tree. So what we need to do now is we need to do our usual thing of printing this part between the trunk and the tree. No idea how we should call that. And then we have to print the trunk. So I guess we will print the trunk first because we can do it essentially exactly the same way as this one. So let's see. Let's do draw trunk and we give it the groups here. And yeah, let's see. We need to define draw trunk, don't we? So draw group, void, draw trunk, and we give it int spacing because essentially the amount of groups is kind of the spacing until we start the trunk. So we can use the exact same trick here. We are doing a variable defined width of one character there and then print a new line after we have printed the two pipes of the trunk. And what we are actually doing then there is we are specifying the length, which would be spacing. However, we need to add one because we have the oh wait, no, in this situation we don't add one because we only want the spaces actually. Does that actually work? I'm not sure if I need to specify a character. I guess I need to specify some. Can I actually do some? I'm not sure if I can do if I can do that actually. It would be kind of strange if this actually would do what I wanted to do. I guess this will not do what I wanted to do. Yeah, because it needs something there to print. So what we can actually, however, do is we simply put this, where is it? We put this pipe character in there. However, then we of course need a +1 here because the real width of the thing needs to be the spacing +1 for one character. And this now should actually work. Yeah, there's our trunk. And now we need this line in between. So this line here actually has the amount of groups that we are printing plus times 2 plus 2 characters, because we need the outside characters left and right there as well to incorporate them. So how will we do that actually? As for everything else that we are doing here, we have a couple of possibilities to do something like that in C. However, how I would actually do it, if I think about it, I would do something like I would use the string precision capabilities. So what we can actually do is we can not only tell the system that we want a width when printing a character, and it will add spaces actually. What we can do with the %s here is we can print a string. So I could do something like, let's do a new line at the end. And then I could do something like I could put a lot of minus characters there. So a lot of dashes. So let's execute that. And as you can see, it simply prints out those dashes, which is kind of nice. However, we only want the corresponding amount. So what we actually want is the amount of, as I've said, groups times 2 plus 2. So somehow we need to make this string shorter. And we can actually do this again by putting the star here, which in turn again means that we are supplying the value that we would usually write here, something like 10, for example, in the argument of the function there in the bar args. It's a variadic function, as you can see, because I can supply multiple arguments to it. Which is variable based on the input string here. And now it would be doing the length thing. So, but we don't want to pad it to be a certain length. We want to kind of cut things away. And there is a way to define a precision, which we can, on the other hand, use to easily do something like create precision with floating points and stuff like that. And it is denoted by starting with a dot. So if I do something like dot 5, for example, it means that I want a precision, if I would use it with a floating point, for example, that I want a precision of 5 decimal characters. Decimal digits. So, however, I can use it with a string as well and use the value provided here, and it will then actually cut this given string here to the given precision. So if I tell it to have like 10 as a precision, it will cut the string to the length of 10 and then print it. And by supplying something that is definitely large enough to cover us when printing, we can actually do exactly what we want by cutting this string down to the correct length. Yeah, so now we have our Christmas tree in C. So let's see what happens there if we actually go ahead and make it a couple of groups bigger, because we never done that before. Okay, it doesn't fit our terminal anymore, but it looks nice. So let's see. Let's do this. Oh, no, I didn't want to actually exit. Come on, exit out of my... where are we? There, of my nice little VI editor. But I wanted to show this quite big and nice Christmas tree that we printed on the screen. And yeah, I guess we could actually add a couple of ornaments there, the same way than we did before. So why not? So we need a little bit of randomness for that, don't we? So therefore we need, I guess, stdlib, because it contains the rand function that we need, and I think we will need time.h, if I remember correctly, to seed the random number generator. So let's first of all go ahead and seed that one with srand time, and let's get the current time, an easy way to seed the random number generator. And now we want to do our spacing a little bit differently again, I guess. So let's call that one void draw ornaments, and it essentially, I guess, takes the len in as an int, I guess, there. So and we now do something like we are not putting this character there, but we are simply putting the backslash here then again, I guess, and we are doing a simple string here. And now we will do draw ornaments here with the same length, but not with the +1, because we don't need it anymore. And maybe we will, just for reasons of formatting, put the backslash character there anyways, even though it is not needed anymore, and put this as a character there. And let's check this with the first line there. So what we need now is we need the length. So we need something like an int I, and we need for I is equal 0 to I is less than, as long as I is less than length I plus plus. I want to do something like if And now we need a random number. Okay, so I guess we want to do something like the percentage thing again. So let's cast our random generated number into a double. Let's divide it by max rand, I guess. No. It's rand max. So that we actually get a value between 0 and 1. And then say if this is less than, we did 0.1 before in another example, if I remember correctly. If this is the case, then we want to... Oh, the problem is now we are assuming here that we are actually returning this strings thingy here. However, it would be a lot easier to simply print it out. Then we don't need to take care of allocating space for the string and stuff like that. So let's do something a little bit different here. Let's just not print it out like that, but let's remove this part here and only do this then, and then let's do a print f. No, let's do draw ornaments of n times 2. And then we will do a print f again, where we actually then have the character here, which will be the backslash there. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So we split that out so that this one then actually could simply do a print f here, or better said, it could do a put char, and it could simply put out the... Yeah, I guess we used the O for the ornaments in this case, and in the other branch case, we are simply putting out the space character. And now let's quickly see if this even actually compiles. It does not, of course. So warning, relational comparison result error, expected expression else. Okay, that's a warning actually. That might be even fine. What's the problem there? Error, expected expression at the else. So where's the problem with the else? If put char, I guess the problem is that I kind of wrote Rust code here and did not provide the braces around let's say the if. So this actually seems to work. So let's more or less replace this one with this one, and we need to of course change now the character sizes. So this spacing is now len minus n, and this one will be n times 2 plus 1. And now let's see if this actually creates a Christmas tree with ornaments. However, we kind of broke the... Yeah, I know why we broke the ordering, the spacing there, because this should have been n plus 1 and then times 2. Okay, let's see. Okay, and now, as you can see, we have a Christmas tree with ornaments in C. And unfortunately, this one was a little bit longer than the ones before, because we introduced the ornaments there, and I'm a little bit but I said very rusty in C. However, I hope you had nevertheless fun while seeing me doing this, and will actually log in again and see the next one when it is the 4th day of Advent of Languages tomorrow, and I hope to see you then. So bye.